Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys a quick update on my experience with the Sony NEX-6. So as you guys can see, I've got it right now next to the NEX-7, which is my go-to camera just about any time I need a quality digital imaging device. And the NEX-6 is really doing its best to replace it now. As you can see right now, I've got the older 18 to 55 millimeter lens attached to it right now, which is not what came with the camera, but of course I do have these kit lenses, and they are good performers overall as far as kit lenses go. Same exact lens sitting right now on the NEX-7, of course, only difference being that it is in a black finish. And this camera, the NEX-6, did come with the brand new 16 to 50 millimeter zoom lens, which is a power zoom lens. Really nice lens. I'm going to be giving you guys a separate review of this altogether. For those of you who are interested in the lens on its own, it prices at I believe $349.99 retail. So overall, not too expensive for what it represents, because it's the first pancake zoom lens for the NEX lineup. But in terms of the NEX-6, I want to give you guys some feedback on what to expect. So Wi-Fi functionality. Right now, what you're looking at, pretty much the exact same offering that you're going to get out of the 5R. So really key differences that I've found since I have been working with both the 5R and the 6 really just come down to the actual build quality and ergonomics. You're getting that exact same, pretty much identical grip that you'll find on the 7 that is now back in focus right there in the background. And that makes a big difference for a lot of you out there. I know that, and that's why I'm pointing it out, especially for me personally. I would never be able to really go to the 5R after having been shooting with the 7 for so long, just because it gives so many more manual controls and just overall comfort for the enthusiast than what the 5R has to offer. And that's not to say that the 5N and 5R are not great cameras, because they are. They're just aimed at different users. The 6 tries to bridge that gap, and it does a really good job. From the mode dial, which is pretty much found on every Sony camera under the sun, except for, of course, the 7, which is basically leaning on the tri-nav system, and the 5R does borrow from that tri-nav system, but it doesn't offer you a dial with modes like this. Forget customizable dial beneath it. It does give you, though, that function dial, so you're getting a couple more manual capability features with the 6, but more importantly, you're getting, as I mentioned before, that build quality, the ergonomics, and that electronic viewfinder. And I know for so many of you out there, what keeps you from buying a mirrorless system like this with this incredibly small footprint is really just the lack of electronic viewfinder. And that's where the 5R and its predecessor, the 5N, really just came up short. You know, you needed a little bit more, and that's what the 6 represents. So far shooting with this, I've been really pleased with the results. Low light performance is good. The overall quality of the camera is definitely superior to the 5R if you're looking for manual control and more of an enthusiast feel. And you don't want to jump into the price point of the NEX-7. However, despite being able to facilitate those things, I still can't recommend this camera over the NEX-7. The 7 has been left at the top of the food chain for a reason. It has things like a microphone input, granted overheating a little bit worse in the 7 than the 5R or the NEX-6. They both benefit obviously from a later, more recent design, slightly different heat sink, but in terms of sensor performance, overall construction, the 6 is a champ. There's no question about it. But it's kind of tough for me to recommend this camera over the 5R right now, unless you absolutely need this larger grip, you know, a couple additional manual controls, but more importantly, that viewfinder. I mean, obviously, if you need the electronic viewfinder, the NEX-6 is the way to go, unless you want the extra megapixels that the NEX-7 affords. In terms of the Wi-Fi, really, that's a gimmick, I think, for most users out there, but you know, Sony is bringing quite a few real tangible applications that do turn the Wi-Fi gimmick into a functional reality. And I've demoed some of those for you guys, not going to go through them today. By the time I do an update on those applications, I have a feeling that Sony will have matured or evolved their app store even further. But right now, Really like what the 6 has to offer, but as I mentioned earlier, if you don't care about that electronic viewfinder, it's tough for me to recommend this at its premium over the NEX-5R, simply because it's all just about ergonomics and the electronic viewfinder. In terms of image quality, the 5R stands right up to the 6. Also, you do get a built-in flash here, but I don't know how much that's going to matter to some of you when you talk about looking at a camera that right now, with the holiday sales, the 5R is running $650 body, for the kit package, $550 for the actual camera alone. So very inexpensive, even compared to the 6, where you're looking at $850 and $1,000 for the body only and kit package. But really just wanted to give you guys a quick update, and hopefully this answered some of your questions about the 6's performance. As I mentioned before, the overheating issue is still existent, but nowhere near as prevalent as the last generation of NEX cameras. So really, it all just comes down to, do you want to shell out the extra money over the 5R in order to get slightly more manual controls, certainly better ergonomics with this far more pro-style grip, even though I don't want to equate this really with a pro-style grip. That's what I'll say, an enthusiast grip, compared to what you're getting with the 5R, which is clearly just a plastic traditional grip like we had with the 5N. But you still don't get quite the manual array of buttons that will prevent you from ever having to menu dive. Not ever, but very infrequent menu diving with the NEX-7. You do, however, get to bring on that very impressive electronic viewfinder. So I hope this answered some of your questions. If you guys have any other questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.